Aloha and welcome to this practice WOD called Multi-Page Play Bootstrap Browser History. There's a lot of syllables in there, but the idea is that we built our browser history, we added Bootstrap, we added Play, now we're going to separate it into different pages. And this is a great WOD. You'll spend a lot of time on it, and as you'll see, I'm going to spend a lot of time on it because I actually recorded almost this complete practice WOD and then ScreenFlow exited on me unexpectedly in the last 15 seconds. So I'm starting all over from scratch, but I'm really well practiced now. I'm more practiced than I actually wanted to be for this WOD. So anyway, review the skeletal structure and then start working on this. Spend time with it because by the end of it you're going to really have an understanding of how the view and controller components of the model view controller paradigm work in Play. Okay, so without further ado, let's start our timer. And then we're going to create a branch of our Bootstrap history. And it should be multi-page 1, but because I just finished trying to do the darn thing and I didn't get the recording that I wanted, I got to do it all over again. Oh, it's very sad. But, you know, now you can see that even I am doing the practice WODs more than once. So this is going to be multi-page 2. And then we're going to open IntelliJ up and go to the Play Bootstrap browser history. And what you can see is that it's not showing the it's not showing the project name correctly. So I put up Play Bootstrap browser history. So let's do that. Okay. So now that's fixed in in the title bar. And we want to check to make sure that the check style rules are in place correctly. So we go to Other Settings, Check Style, and that all looks good. And verify that there's no check style errors. So to do that, we can just do a propeller shift Option I, check style. Can't even type anymore. There we go. So we analyze the code, and it shows no suspicious code found. Then we're going to run the tests. So we can do that down here, activator test. Okay, and after a few minutes, or a few seconds, hopefully, no more than a few seconds, we're going to see that the tests all pass. So that's good. So now we're down to 6. We're going to the first thing I ask you to do is update the Navbar. So to do that, we'll go into App, Views, Main.Scala. Here's where the Navbar is, and that's really doesn't show the way Navbar menu item code is supposed to be in Play. So I gave you this link to show you what it looks like. So let's copy one of those lines here, and then we'll paste it in here. The other thing to notice is that this is got 4-space indentation, which is not what we want. And the way that we fix that is to make sure that in editor code style, at the default level, it says 224, not 448. Okay, so if you haven't made this change yet, go to editor code style and don't go into any of the the languages, but just at this top level and make that change. And what that enables you to do then is do code, reformat code, and it will fix that code to be 2-space indentation, which is what we want for this class. Anyway, going back to this, I'm going to copy this again because I can't remember if I pasted anything. Oh, it's already here. Okay. So this, when the home page is introduction, then we want to go introduction. And what I'm going to do is just update this Navbar. So I'll do a Command D to duplicate, and then this is Internet Explorer. One page is Internet Explorer, and then we'll duplicate again, and Firefox, is the third one. And delete Firefox, duplicate, and then Chrome. And Option Delete, you notice how it deletes that first quotation mark, which is kind of a drag. Then I'll do a Command Delete to get rid of these lines. Okay, we've got our updated menu bar. And it's always going to go to the home page because you can see the reverse routing, right? It's always just going to the index page. But anyway, at this point, I think it's it's good to kind of see what we have. So let's do an activator run down here. And then we'll bring up, once it's running, we'll go to localhost 9000. And here we have, okay, so it's running, and we see we've got our menu bar updated correctly, although it doesn't, every page is going to this home page. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to split this out into separate pages, and I've got this process of updating, duplicating index.scala, updating application, updating the routes, and so forth. So let's see how that works. We'll go to index.scala, and let's reformat it to be 2-space indentation. And then what we'll do is we'll do a propeller C, propeller V, and we'll call this Internet Explorer.scala.html. So now we got a new template class. And the basic idea, if you look at the result, is we want kind of all of the pages to have this just well, format. So it's single column and a well with the content inside. So in order to do that, it's real simple. We just take the actual HTML from those lower columns and copy and then paste them into the upper one. And once we've done that, we close off the divs, and then we close off the template, and then we just delete the rest of it. This is the fastest way that I figured out to do it. Okay, now what's very important is we've got this Internet Explorer.scala.html. What we want to do is do a Command F9 to actually make the system. And you can see at the bottom of the window, you have this make going in the little blue bar. What this is going to do is compile this template, and that creates a Java class in the views.html file called Internet Explorer, which has a render function and which we can do the reverse routing on and so forth. So it's very useful to make the system after you create new view files so that you now have the associated Java functions. So you can see in the bottom, we finished making. That enables us to go to our application and make a copy of this guy. And we'll say returns the Internet Explorer page, the resulting IE page. We'll call this Internet Explorer. And now here, what we can do is we can say Internet. And now you can see that IntelliJ actually knows that there is this Internet Explorer class in the views.html file. So we can actually type return to complete that. And what that does is that not only inserts that, but it also brings in the import statement. Okay, so that's super nice. Now, having done that, we can now go to the routes file. Okay, and we can add in a new get with Internet Explorer, and that will go to controllers.application.Internet Explorer. Okay, and you see again we have this completion because it actually knows about it. Okay, so having done that, the final thing we want to do is go back to our main.scala, and here we say when the page is Internet Explorer, okay, which is this, and we have to actually replace that by Internet Explorer to tell it that that's the page that's being sent in. So when the page is Internet Explorer, then instead of going to index, we want to go to Internet Explorer. And again, we have completion, indicating that, you know, things are okay. Okay, so having done all those things, we can now refresh. Do a recompilation here, reload, and then if we click on Internet Explorer, you see, bang, we've got our new page. Okay, so that's really awesome. So that's the kind of you know, what we're going to do for the other two pages that we want to insert. So we're going to go here, do it again. Oh, there's one other thing we want to do actually, which is to add a test case to check that the page can be retrieved. So let's go down here to integration test, and what I mean by that essentially is going to this piece of code here and duplicating it and then saying, okay, well, let's retrieve the Internet Explorer page, which is right here, and what can we look for that would be in that page? Well, how about this piece of text right here? So let's copy that, paste it in here. Okay, and then what we can actually do is we can just run this integration test from right within IntelliJ and see if it passes. So first, of course, got to make the system, and now it's running the test. Okay, and we get a green bar, so everything's good with our test. All right, so let's go back now and do the same for Firefox. So we got, here's our index.scala. So I'll do a Control-C, Control-V. We'll call this Firefox.scala. Add it to Git. And then we find the Firefox HTML, which is right here. And we copy it to this top section here. And then we close off the div, and then we close off the template, and then we delete the rest of this stuff. Okay, and then we're going to do our make, propeller F9, because now we want to create our Java class called views.html.firefox, which will have a render function, and we can do the reverse routing and so forth, so that then when we're editing these other sections of the system, you know, we've got completion and you know, auto import and all that other groovy stuff. So let's go to application. We're going to copy and paste this method. I'm not quite sure. There's got to be a better way to do this. I couldn't really find some cool IntelliJ way to like clone a method. There's probably one in there somewhere, but if you find it, tell me. I'd be kind of interested. So let's option delete that, and then we're going to say Firefox views.html. Notice that we have this welcome to the home page, which is just like vestigial code. And at the end of the screencast, if ScreenFlow does not blow up on me, I'll show you why and how we should get rid of it. But for right now, I'm going to kind of just let that stuff hang and just go through with this other stuff first. So let's duplicate this line. And then we'll say Firefox is the URL, and then we'll go back to here, and we'll say application.firefox. Okay, and then the only last thing we have to do is go into our main and make sure that when that the reverse routing is to Firefox. Okay, so we add that, and then it's probably a good idea to just review to make sure that things work the way we think they should be working. So we reload, go to Firefox, a brief history of Firefox. That looks great. So let's go to our integration test and copy, and then call that Firefox, a brief history of Firefox. Save it out, and then what the heck, let's run our integration tests again. See that that one works okay. The pause that refreshes. I'm going to take a little drink here. Okay, here's our integration tests. It's all good. Okay, got one more to do, which is the Chrome. So we'll say chrome.scala.html, add it to Git. Okay, here it is. Let's find the Chrome stuff, copy, and then paste up here. Okay. I'm not making many errors, but you probably will. At least definitely the first time through this, and maybe even the second time. You may want to do this WAD actually 3 times. Okay, so now I'm going to make this propeller F9, and again, this is making the Java class associated with this view file so that when we're making further edits to the code, IntelliJ will know about the stuff that we've created. So we'll do propeller C, and returns the Chrome page, resulting Chrome page, Chrome, and then here we'll just back up and say Chrome reviews.html. There we go. Okay. And we see our Chrome up here. So now the next thing we have to do is go to main and say that for the Chrome, we're going to do this. That's funny. Application. What's wrong with this? Let's make the system. Value Chrome is not a member of controllers.reverse application. I love this. This is like just when I was so like, oh, I wasn't making any mistakes. So this is not looking hard here. Well, why? This one is code, reformat code. No, I don't have a missing static index, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome. Method Chrome is never used. Oh, that's what that. Okay, so this is defined. Routes application Chrome cannot resolve symbol Chrome. CHROME. Oh! Duh. Okay. Right, see? I forgot a step here. Okay, Chrome. Let's do the build. Okay, good. This is good, actually. I want you to see this because you're gonna, at times, think that somehow the environment is crazy until your mental model has kind of embedded the various connections between this to the point that you can actually understand it. So now if we go into our main.scala, you see that the red highlighting of that went away because now the routes file has been recompiled with the appropriate method, and so that's going to work. Okay, so having done that, let's go and refresh here. Okay, let's go to Chrome. Okay, and the thing that I'm noticing is this is not highlighted when we actually go there, and that's probably because we did not update that. So let's just check to make sure that we have the right values. I think this should be introduction, according to the, and then this is Internet Explorer. So we have introduction, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome. So let's do a refresh. So introduction, it's now highlighted, Internet Explorer highlighted, Firefox, Chrome highlighted. Okay, so the only thing that's bad is this introduction page is junk. It's got all this extra stuff. And so we fix that by closing off the div, closing off the template, deleting all this stuff which we now no longer need, save it out, and actually we have one more integration test to do. So let's do that and say Chrome, that'd be brief history of Chrome. Okay, save it out. And let's refresh here. And now we can see the introduction page looks good, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome. So it looks like, you know, we have completed everything we need to do. Let's run the test cases. Let's do them from down here just for grins. Activator test. Okay, so everything's passed, our tests are great, we can commit, but I want to do one more thing before we go away, which is to deal with what's kind of bogus, which is passing in these strings to all our views when these strings aren't used for anything. Okay, so let's fix that, and the way we're going to fix it is essentially getting rid of the parameter in each of our view files. Whoops, in this one. Okay, so I got rid of the parameter. Now I'm going to do a make propeller F9 of the system. And what we're going to find when we recompile all these view files to make the associated Java classes, that render function no longer accepts an argument as a string, and we're going to get some compiler errors. Okay, and there they are. So we go to application.java and it says, look, method render and class index cannot be applied to given types. Okay, so that's exactly what we want. So let's fix that. We'll get rid of these strings. Okay, and now let's make the system again, propeller F9. Okay, and there's one more error, okay, which was in our test class. And this is just an example of how strong typing is a wonderful thing. Okay, this you can't do in, for example, Ruby on Rails, which is a dynamic language, or Python, you know, Django has a very similar structure, but you don't get this strong typing, which is what the Scala benefits are. Okay, so we compile correctly. Let's just run our tests from here to make sure that our tests still run. And then actually, while we're doing that, we might as well run check style in here. Okay. So our test pass, check style passes. Now we've really done everything we need to do, except for committing our branch to GitHub. So we'll say changes, finished WAD, and that's 24 minutes, we're going to call it, And I hope you enjoyed it. All right, see you next time.